to the monthly. So all right. So on the monthly, relatively small range yesterday. No change. We are trading lower at the moment, down at 4446. But I mean, in the big scheme of things, really not too much change here on the monthly. We're still one time framing to the upside and still kind of holding this high levels. The current month still remains within the previous month. So in order for that to change, we'd have to break above the 44.98. That's a key number to remember. On the weekly, right? Morning, Roach. We see a bit of the same. We see the markets just balancing here. Very short week as well as have what's it called? 4th of July this week, and so we're kind of expecting really not much information, maybe just a bit of balancing. It is the summer as well. We can't really be expecting that the market's going to be kind of out of control or anything like that. Switching, well, a little bit of a broader view here on the weekly too. We can see like, a previous high here, previous highs here, previous lows here. So this area, this 4508, that's why I haven't marked out, is it makes sense for it to act as resistance. And so here's kind of my theory here is, I mean, what we talked about, right? We talked about this yesterday as well, that we thought, market looked to be getting a little bit toppy, right? We had planned the short, and then eventually we caught the short, and it was actually a really nice trade. Just had to be real patient yesterday. And then the overnight session, luckily for me, I've been up since 5 a.m. So, but that being said, if the market does roll down, right, and tests below this big week here, what we could be seeing is a break of the balance low. And if we don't get continued supply, that takes the market lower, and that would be pretty much towards that 4204. And this is on the weekly. So remember, that I know that's a pretty decent ways away from where the market's at now. But that's what we would basically have to see if we break below this gap. And so it gives us a pretty, how would you call it? A pretty decent chance if we're patient enough to maybe buy the pullback, with a pretty easy stop below, knowing that if we close below that 4,300, that most likely we're heading down to 4,200, right? That's kind of my deduction. So if we get a close below that 4,300, then we'll probably end up heading down 100 points or so. If then, you could draw to conclusions what you want to draw to it. But if we don't, right, we don't close below that 4,300, I think there's going to be opportunity to maybe buy not just the ES, but there's going to be some opportunity in some other markets, I'm sure, to kind of buy here and trade back to the high of balance towards that 4508 level, and then test some of this excess. Basically where we see supply is at the high, that whole area there. So if it breaks this 4508 and closes above that, then I think we're going like 4620s. This is on the weekly basis, right? So it's a lot of things, but those are the two key areas that I'm looking for, that 4508 and that 4306. If we get an intraday close or a daily close above or below those areas, there could be opportunity to go with as a break from a weekly balance can typically cause bigger moves. Switching over here to the daily, we can see we're kind of just balancing. This is kind of an interesting week, right? Here's the 30th, but we're really just balancing. This is the holiday, 2 days, and then yesterday. Really just kind of in this balance with this gap below. So this gap is going to be key. And in order to kind of get more focus on that gap, we'll just go ahead and switch to the profiles here. And you can see I have them outlined. Let's see what the settle was. Real quick. Settle was 83.75. And so you can see just a little review from yesterday, right? The market caught a bid off the open, and then just we kind of assumed that it was short covering, right? It never took out that high. This is something that we talked about yesterday. But if you weren't here yesterday, or you're having trouble kind of understanding this concept, if you imagine that we have a lot of supply overhead, market gets lower, well, some of these shorts that are in profit now are going to take profit. So that's what that was. Boom, they took profit. Boom, they took profit. So the market didn't sell off. I mean, one, there wasn't a lot of sellers, but mostly what we deduct from something like this is that yesterday was just a day taking care of old business. There wasn't any real new traders in the market yesterday, right? There definitely wasn't any buyers because we left a poor high. So definitely assuming that if we're below this upper distribution here, which is 86 to like 90, that there's probably some trapped longs still in the market. Now moving on to today, you can see this, as far as the daily goes, this is the gap that I was talking about here, where marked in pink, and then you have this lighter pink marker underneath, and that's the place where we actually gapped down. So that was that gap day. We gapped down, we sold off, left some gaps on the way back up, traded back up here, big gap day up, left that gap untested for a couple of days, and now we're testing back into that gap, and we're in that same area. So it makes sense to me that we see some buying in this area, right? We're in a very low volume zone. As you can kind of see, the distribution's getting, pretty big, right? Especially this upper one's starting to grow pretty large here. And this is, remember, 30-day profile. And so one thing we can kind of deduct from that really is, while we're in this low volume area, if the market can't close this gap and get accepted below the 35.75, then there's decent odds for a bounce. Then now, it doesn't necessarily mean that because there's the odds for the bounce that we want to just be playing the bounce, right? It might be better. You might be better off playing the bounce to short. But what it does mean is that if you get below this area and you're in a short, right, that's a decent area to start covering or taking some profit as we get back into this distribution, right? You try to trail it down to that 41.20 or something like that. But that would be a decent area to kind of start covering some profit, thinking, okay, the gap is filled, old business is taken care of. That's what this gap is, right? Old business. And now maybe buyers re-enter the market at an area they entered the market on the way up, right? So you can assume, right, a bunch of inventory gets long here. You can see where there's that big ledge. They get long there. Maybe they start front running each other back in that gap, and then try to get back above into the gap low, which would be that 71. Since we're 30 handles away from that, you really can play both sides today. But what you do know is, like, if you get accepted below this 35.75 and you're getting long, you're really putting some high risk on yourself. right? Because if this gets accepted into this lower distribution, there's these gaps down here, and that would be kind of that next target, right? As we talked about, this could be a look above balance and fail, and that low of balance on the weekly basis is like 4,300. So you're really in a very high risk spot. So there's really um, no shame in, like, just taking it easy and kind of letting the market settle itself out and see which side the gap is on and kind of play that side, right? Remember gap rules. We want to go with any gap that doesn't fill early. Well, unless we get a big overnight inventory correction with the second day in a row 100% overnight inventory short, then we uh, probably will have a tough time seeing the gap fill, right? Pretty large gap. And typically, if you're a newer trader, you probably want to stay away from days where we are trading with gaps larger than 10 handles. It can be a lot higher risk. Other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's not really a whole lot going on. We've got the Jolts jobs report coming out today at 10 o'clock, so be open. Um, I guess my thoughts kind of on this are, if you figure, because we have ISM services PMI coming out as well, uh, and if you figure that 80% of people work in the services sector, 80% of Americans work in the services sector, and that services PMI doesn't come out great, right? And basically, what this means is, here, let's pull up the economic calendar. But the price manufacturing index PMI activity, some non-manufacturing services PMI. This one is it? All right, so the US ISM non-manufacturing I guess it's purchasing managers index. Um, Basically, this thing tells us that a higher than expected reading should be taken as positive or bullish for the dollar, while a lower than expected reading should be taken as negative for the dollar. So this is tied to the dollar, right? Because it's tied, but it's also tied to 80% of the people. And we know if um, we do a little correlation chart here, can look at the dollar. Let's look at the dollar index in green. Showing up down there. That's not what I want to see here. Oh, it's called comparison. What he's called. Morning, Liquor. Morning, Thomas. All right. So you can see here Let's go ahead and just do year to date. Just do year. Okay, so for this year so far, or for the past year, you can see that market has pretty much been inversely correlated. See, this is where the dollar makes a low. This is where the market makes a high. This is where the market makes a low, where the dollar makes a high. See this come down, where the market makes a high, where the dollar makes a low, dollar makes a high, market makes a low. Even here, you kind of see it base out a little bit. But what's interesting here is they're one kind of far apart, but they're actually kind of correlated here, or starting to correlate, which typically means that they're going to come back together when you get this kind of wide look, because they're supposed to be kind of inverse pairs. And so if we get those ISM services PMI number higher, right? That's what that thing says. Typically, a higher than expected reading should be taken as positive for the dollar. So if it goes higher, that should bring the dollar up, which will probably bring the market down. Right? So that's something that we want to be paying attention to on a bigger scale, right? I'm not necessarily factoring that in today. Morning, Kevin, because that's not how I trade the reports. Because the number and what it actually means doesn't necessarily mean anything. The people that are trading right now, but bigger picture, bigger time frame, that's kind of where it matters. So if anything, if it's positive today, maybe the market rallies, which I think it will, because that's kind of what a positive number would mean. But I think it rallies and gets sold off in the bigger scheme of things. But if it's a negative number, I think we get continued selling today, and then a buy opportunity near that 4,300, maybe not that low, but we also have Jolts, right? I don't necessarily think Jolts is that important. They just want to see more job openings, just because they want to see a strong economy and low inflation and people not working. Like, why would you work when we can just pay you to stay at home all the time? You do nothing and be a non-contributing member to society. What? Huh. That's pretty much all I got. We still got a lot of time until the market opens. I guess the plan here today, really, for me, is if we don't close the gap, we don't close this lower gap. If we don't find acceptance below this 35.75, even if we come down a little bit, come back up above this 4,444, I'm looking to get long into some of these single prints. Um, I'm not looking to get long to try to like hold this thing forever and just assume that it's going to go up. But by 10 o'clock, right, that's when all that numbers are going to come out. And really the plan's not going to matter. We're going to have to make a new plan after that 10 o'clock. And so what I'm really looking for by that 10 o'clock pattern is, which way does the market impulse, and does it hold or does it give it up? So like if we get this impulse lower, let's say we open, or let's say the market's trading around this 35, and we impulse lower down into this lower distribution, and it finds buyers and gets back above that 35, well, I'm going to start getting long and looking to hold this thing really back into the meat of this distribution, right? Um, but if it impulses down and just starts to hang out down here, well, then I want to start trying to sell a pop below this 35 to try to trade back down to this point of control down here um, from this lower distribution here. And then maybe even if we don't get any good volume down there, at 44.10 was just the biggest level ever. So 44.10, 44.12 could be another big level. And that's only 30 handles below us. So it's not too reasonable. But really, it's all going to depend kind of where we're trading and what the market gives us at that 10 o'clock time frame. There'll be some opportunity before that. And like I said, if we don't close this gap and we're above 4444, I kind of like the longs, unless we close the gap during a period or something like that. But I kind of like the longs to try to trade back up to this low here, this 64 area where all that volume's at. Get a little bit of overnight inventory correction, and then let's see, how strong supply is. I'm seeing supply like 64 basically 68. Right, mechanical sellers selling closer to the gap fill because they're fucking stupid. Um, but if we get rejection here and can't close the gap, there's gonna be that opportunity to start getting short up there as well. So really just kind of depends what we get here. Morning, Infinity. Bitcoin. Sure. Look at my boy, Bitcoin. Thanks for the fucking alert, piece of shit. Awesome. Here we go. Hey, what's the CVD doing? Where's it even at? This is really when the CVD comes in handy. When the market starts to trade sideways for Bitcoin, the CVD actually works pretty well. Um, so you can see we got a higher high here, a lower high here, and then ended up catching that sell off compared to this higher high, a little bit of a bearish divergence there. And now we're seeing a higher high, lower high, so kind of a bearish divergence there as well. So and then structurally, we're just kind of balancing. And that low of balance would really be this 29,921. But I mean, I think inside here, there's really no play. We get a little pop and can't take out this 31,729. I think you can fade it back into there as it just looks kind of weak and kind of in a hesitation period waiting for the market to kind of decide. But if we get below that 29.91, I think we probably come back down to that 29.2, 29.4 level is where this excess is at, and kind of the low of balance as well. There's some single prints down here, looks like as well. And Bitcoin typically trades just like right through single prints, doesn't really hesitate, just kind of flushes them out. All right, we got about 7 minutes until the market opens. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be back. So on this volume, basically what we see is we'll see a couple of colors. Um, so the blue is just for spikes, so probably stop runs, a little bit of stop runs. That's kind of what it's kind of showing. The green is supposed to be um, like what is it? Like buyers are be able to move the price up regardless of which direction it's in. It's just supposed to draw your attention, really. Yellow is supposed to be low volume candle, and then if we see a pink, that's supposed to be like a breakout, like a basically it's like 1x, like 2x the volume for green, 2x plus price moving for blue. Yellow is low volume, and then pink is like a it's like 5x or 3x or something. I don't know, but that's basically how we're looking at it. Really, they're just drawing your attention. So like yellow directional candles typically don't hold is basically kind of what this thing supposedly says. Um, Really, I'm only looking for candles. I could turn them all off.
Yeah, that's cool. What's up, guys?
Yeah. What's up, TJ? Yeah, I posted this in the indicators page. So if you have Thinkorswim and you want to use it or mess with it, maybe you can find out a little bit more. But I just know I got the idea from TJ. TJ uses these high volume candles, and I feel like what we do is we pay attention to time, price, and volume. So having them on the smaller scales will be beneficial because we can see like more microly where the volume comes in at. Not that we're going to use them as support or resistance, but if we get, let's say we get a big directional move, well, maybe we can use that area as like we expect buyers there, or use it as a stop below, something like that.
Microly is a good word.
Microly? Is that not a word?
Yeah, I like it. It is if you use it.
I live.
You
Yeah,
looking for downside again today?
I live by the definition of if you can say it, it's a word. Just look at our president, America. I am. I'm really neutral, to be honest with you, TJ. Especially from here, I'm actually more kind of leaning long. If we can stay above this 444, I think we do catch a couple bounces, maybe a little bit of overnight inventory correction. Um, but if we get below that 35.75 and start to get accepted below there, then I think we might roll all the way down to like 44.10. We have the Jolts and ISM at 10. So really, really, I'm just like, I might just sit here until 10 o'clock, to be honest with you. But like before 10 o'clock, if I do take some trades, like some small trades, it'll be long above 44 or short. Like if we get a pop and it fades, then there's opportunities to short, I think, as well, of course. But I don't want to short from here, is basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I'll be right back. Morning, Zoe. The 13th. About 30 seconds. Yeah, TNX is above that spot. I saw that. That's why I'm kind of thinking that the market was getting a bit toppy. You know what I mean? Like, just seemed like it was. Now, if we can just see Tesla take a piss, I'll be super happy. All right, there's our open. Oh, 1,200 lots come in on that 43.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Jen. Ooh. Liquidation there. Goes down and gets that volume, and offer continues to come down here. Look at that volume trading on this 43.50, 43.75.
Bots are all on puts, FYI.
Big offers coming in here. And he's trying to go up. Yeah, it is. Not the Dow, though.
NVIDIA is dropping, AMD is kind of trying to push higher. I guess NVIDIA is coming back up a little bit, though. Kind of bounced off of the lower band. Maybe what?
Another liquidation there. There's the Globex low. Big offer coming in.
What profit am I looking for?
Another big offer coming in right there at the 44.40. Microsoft flipped the UE. NASDAQ is also trading lower. Is anybody in a short? That-
Bot is.
I am.
And I am in
Nice.
sim, but I didn't take it in real because my bot is in.
Where'd you get in, Nikki?
I got in at 40.
Pretty nice.
I'm in at 44 quarter.
I was in a long from 44, but I had my stop one tick below 44 or 43.75 and it took me out, but I should have reversed that shit. That was perfect, like come through the open trade. Do at 44.
Freaking computer
Oh, perfect. Perfect. What's that, TJ?
My computer started lagging. I looked down at y'all's screen and the price was like a few dollars lower than what my stinking computer was showing.
That's weird.
Like, what the heck? That's just my Wi-Fi system, I think. It's acting up. You have to restart.
Okay, all bots are in and in their double downs. A little bit of a bounce, it looks like.
And I mean, not
We hit a low and then bounced.
got stopped at 38. Nasdaq's still heading much lower. Same with the Dow. So actually, the Dow's catching a little bit of a bid, but not much. So this gap is filled. Now there's a gap here. So we traded one big gap for another big gap.
Okay, bots all sold because they hit the threshold. The failsafe hit.
You talking like a take profit threshold or like a stop threshold?
Yeah, I know. So what it does is it looks at all the data, and if it looks at the data from all four bots, and if it gets to a point where everything is up, all the double downs have been bought, it basically figures that it is in a good enough position that it shouldn't go that far against it. And basically, if it hits a certain amount of profit, it will let it get down to a percentage of that, and then it kills, and then it just basically sells everything. I switched it back so that we can see how they would have done individually.
Mm.
But just so I can tell you guys when they get out automatically. So it looks like one of the AMD bots would have sold.
Look at the tick. It's getting fucking punished here. Just hanging out below 1,000.
1256. Wow.
Yeah, these are both 2,000. These are the indications of a trend day here.
NVIDIA is bouncing. AMD not so much. I probably should modify that up a little bit. So if the indicators are saying that things will still go down, to not sell, that's okay. I'll take a fail safe to a failed to a negative day any day of the week. I think there's still more downside though. Personal opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Counts are 0 and 178. But it did what it's supposed to. That's exciting. It means my failsafe performed. do when it sells? And TJ, I switched it to market orders. So now they will always buy and they will always sell.
Yeah, that's cool.
We'll see how well it works at long term. Yesterday was weird. Like they were supposed to have bought and the orders were in, but it didn't show anything for a solid 10 minutes. All of a sudden, so I went in and because I thought something was wrong, I went in and canceled it and I closed the order that was open because they were a little bit in profit. And then suddenly the order showed up at the price that it was at 10 minutes ago. Like even though they were actually more, they filled them at whatever the original price was. So it was like $2.50 at that point, but they filled it at $1.81, which was crazy.
So above
And so then I
42.
immediately turned around and closed them.
There's a weak spot at 42.5. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. It was not pertinent to the conversation.
Some trap shorts for sure down there, 37-ish area.
NVIDIA is still bouncing. Maybe the bot had the right idea. But there are no indications it was going to reverse, so I don't know. Still hard to say.
The spread that I have on the Russell and the NASDAQ is pretty good. Week.
You mean your entry versus?
No, so like I went short the NASDAQ, long the Russell, right? Because the Russell is like way down.
Oh.
I got short the NASDAQ.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the NASDAQ short is up like $8,600, and the Russell long is down about 4,000. Because it's hard to get
Why
short the
so?
NASDAQ and stay short the NASDAQ. But this way, like if
unless you have something to hedge it. Yeah. So you're basically hedging it.
yeah, so I'm up like 4K.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. Especially I haven't done anything except I just put the position on and just let it ride.
Yeah, I'm still getting strong indications. I mean, we're still 2 in 126, 2 call counts, 126 put counts. So very, very strong to the downside.
Yeah, if this
and
thing.
I'm not getting.
Go ahead.
At least in AMD and NVIDIA, I have 0 call counts. They're all put counts.
Yeah, I was gonna say if this thing can't get back above that 444, because that's where the offer's at, like 444 to like 47, 47, then it has no chance of back up. But it needs to get accepted. Like it's kind of putting in volume above this 35. I'd like to see volume get put in below this 35. To me, like if you look at it on the bigger scale, what this kind of means is like people are willing, like here's this little distribution here on the bigger scale. This is where that ledge is at. So if we start to get volume down here, that kind of increases the odds that we continue lower to that bigger distribution down here. But it looks like they're kind of buying the top of this ledge, meaning that they kind of like it on the break up out of here. Because that's what's running it up, right? Let's think about this for a second. We just sold it down, right? And so what's happening and what causes like these liquidations is like this. So we get this liquidation, and where are sellers coming in? They're coming in here, right? At the low. That's where sellers are coming in. We've seen them coming in at the low, right? What happens is someone starts buying it. And it buys, and everyone's like, oh shit, I'm gonna miss it, I'm gonna miss it, I'm gonna miss it. They buy it. Somebody buys the top while this guy that bought the low is taking profit, right? And then it comes back down. And if that guy doesn't buy again, it's like a ladder, right? This guy takes profit from this guy, and there's a loser every time, and it's the last guy to buy. But it's every time, right? And so if that guy doesn't buy again, even if sellers are moving down, this guy just kind of gets out of the way. Well, all the people that are kind of still holding, those people are like shit, and they have a stop somewhere, and it gets liquidated, and that's when we see those kind of flushes. And every time we've had those flushes so far, like we had this flush, and we had another flush just a couple seconds ago, down from like the 37, we see volume meeting it. Right? Volume's kind of meeting these flushes. Look at this big volume coming down right at the low. See, there it is. So volume's coming down to kind of meet these flushes, which is kind of in turn telling us like fucking shit's about to get crazy.
Eventually, someone's gonna stop letting it drop.
Well, no, it's putting a line in the sand. So like, if you have basically what's bringing us down is stop losses, right? And then you have the momentum shorts. As soon as it stops making a low, because it's not like a big seller is just coming in, it's getting these bounces in it.
Oh, I see.
See what I mean? Yeah. And so,
So eventually they.
well, basically what I'm saying is just short time frame traders. It's the only people in the market right now. And so like as soon as one gives up, then that's just going to be it. Because I don't think there's really anything that's moving the market right now except people's stop losses. Like it's like old business kind of getting taken care of right now. I long 3-3. Are you fucking caveman, Tommy? Is that Tommy? It just says T dot dot dot, so I don't know, but I just assumed.
No, it's no, it wasn't Tommy. That's Lab Effects.
Oh, oh, that's Paul. Oh, you caught a gold
English
trade?
is not his first language. So
Oh, I thought it was Tommy's.
nice. Wow. That was a solid run there from 33 all the way to 38.
Yeah, that's the number you were looking before the market opened too, Paul.
He was looking for 33.
Yeah, because he texted me 33, and I think you texted me 34.
Yeah, I was thinking
He
34,
messaged
35.
33 in the Discord, I think. He said, why does mine show dot dot dot, bro? I can't fucking see anyone's stuff. But yeah, I think he said 33. 36 maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking 34, 35.
Yeah,
I think that's
remember
what
you
I said
texted me
earlier.
34.
Yeah, 34, 35. It feels like we're going to keep heading down toward 35 or 35 area.
Yeah, you nailed it. I covered my short way too early.
I was only in a sim trade, so because the bot was in. But I got it. I'm out.
I'm just kind of struggling right here. Yeah, that was smart to
Sig
get
is
out.
climbing back up. We're only negative 250 now. Not the negative 1600 or whatever it was. Oh, 1675.
Yeah, I got smacked today.
Yeah, that was pretty. I don't think I've ever seen it that or that low of a tick.
Yeah, I don't trust unless it gets volume below that 35. I don't trust that it can go down. And then, like I said, if it starts to hang out above 444, then it could actually catch a pop. Till then, it's gonna be fun. We got 10 minutes until the big news comes out as well, so they could be trying to get ready to sell people on a pop too. I give you one of these. Like it pops, trap a bunch of momentum buyers, bring it back down to the impulse area, trap a bunch of momentum sellers again at the same spot you already trapped them at before, and then take it back up.
So this is all PMI stuff coming out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, services. I'm gonna take a little 10-minute commercial break until we get there because there's not. Oh, those liquid IVs are so good. I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
have had
if
them,
you get the
but
right flavor. They
Yeah.
are
Oh, yeah.
did you guys see my cat playing fetch?
No,
Just
did you
send a
post it
video
somewhere?
and
I posted in the general chat. It's funny as fuck.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I
Let's
feel like
see
every
if you
time I
can-
post something in the general, there's some notifications in there, it gets lost.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot in there.
oh, it's 0 seconds.
What's 0 seconds?
The video. It doesn't play. There's nothing there.
No, mine's working.
Maybe
Bro,
it's
that's
being hit.
insane.
Isn't it? Bro, she did that. She'll do it for like 30 minutes. If you sit there, like I was just sitting there making my breakfast, and like she'll just kept bringing it back, and I'll just throw it, and then if I stop throwing it while I was eating, she'll be like, meow, 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 meow. Annoying as fuck. Like until you pick up the ball and throw it again. And you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
You're
it's
a
not like you
cat.
just got it. It's not like she just did it once. Like you did it multiple times in the same video. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And dude, she like legit, she'll do that for like 30 minutes in a row. It's
Yeah, I've
insane.
never
She's
seen
like
a
a
cat do
dog.
She's like a dog.
Yeah, it's like work, bro. I didn't get a dog because I know how much work a dog is gonna be right now. I don't feel like
That's
putting in
weird.
that much effort.
On my one
And
now you
computer, it
have-
doesn't play.
Maybe it's the MacBook. Watch it on your phone.
Oh no, it works on my other computer. My work computer didn't work.
Oh,
I can see it on my other. I can see it. That's awesome.
A lot of volume on one side right here on this 35.
yeah, it is.
4,000.
I wonder if they're dumping that position from yesterday. Maybe that was a short from yesterday. From that what was it? The 74 74.50
Yeah, they're like
and the
super
85.
big.
There's
Yeah,
like
that
one
big shelf. Yeah, the
yeah.
5. Yeah.
The bots would be killing it right now if they had stayed in. I'll have to go potentially look at that. I still need to get that other back tester that can do all 4 of them at the same time.
Only reason this thing's
Random
not puking off of a cliff is because the Nasdaq is not fully given up yet. Nasdaq's waiting for these fucking numbers to come out. Is what the Nasdaq's doing.
I've had the NASDAQ up on the corner of my screen for a few weeks, and it doesn't do it every day, but there's some days where it just looks like it trades so much cleaner.
It's
I don't know.
faster.
Been
It's like
watching it.
the trades work out a lot faster in there. You could try to sim trade it on the micro Nasdaq first, and then switch to the and then switch to live trade the micros. Especially in a slow market like this, like because the ES has been pretty choppy lately. Like, I mean, we've been moving up a lot, but hasn't been like the easiest traded move.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes the ES just looks like it's chopping, but then I look at the NASDAQ and it's like clean breakout, comes back, retests that spot, keeps going. It's like, man, that looked way easier to trade than what I just did on the ES. But it's not like that every day. But like if you notice it happening, you could maybe throw a trade on or two.
Yeah, definitely. To declare yourself
And these stinking overnight.
RSI free and indicator free. Good work. It helps me at least. What were you gonna say, TJ?
Saying I feel like I need to be trading these overnight sessions, man. Them things been moving.
Yeah,
Got
these
triple
past two.
distribution 2 days in a row.
This one waking up early.
Yeah, I can't do it. Well, I can do it. I don't feel like doing it. So much harder for me. I can stay up though as long as you want me to. Waking up early, I'm just not that.
Well, see, I can do it. Like my wife wakes up early, and it's impossible to stay asleep while she's getting ready. So there's no chance. Like one of the loudest people on the whole fucking planet.
God, there's another 4,000 just printed right there.
Yeah, that's on the 30, 44, 30.
Yeah, 30 and 35. That's like a clean 5-point difference. Crazy how they can drop that many right there and price barely moved. Like you would think it would move like 10 points.
Well, they're trading the other side of it for sure. You know what I mean? Because if you smack it, you can kind of scalp the other side of it. Someone's scalping the other side of it as soon as you see something like that. And then as soon as it goes up more than that one tick, then you're out. Like they're selling a tick into that basically.
Yeah, I guess the what do you call? I hate using the word market maker because that's like such a vague term, but like they know the orders that they have, so like they probably have people that need to get in and people that need to get out. So I guess they can match people up too.
Right,
The
exactly.
AMD bots would have closed.
How many days do we have? Change it back to 7. We already know there's a large distribution down here, so I just want to see it for the past 7 days. And you can kind of see like what I'm getting at, right? The two largest distributions for the past 7 days, this big upper distribution and now this lower distribution. For the past week, right, we're traded down here a little bit, and we're, for the most part, now it kind of confirms that market really has no chance of going up unless it's above 37. But above that 37, it also makes it, well, there's the jolts come out. It also makes it a risky level to get short above too, because you don't know when short covering is going to stop. You assume if we get above there, we would short cover. But if we don't get above there, it won't take long, basically. Unless you want to call it. You know what I mean? If you want to just be like, I know when the bottom is, I'm going to call it right here. That's always possible too. Nice work, Paul. Day 2 of trading Apex success. Good work. Services came in high. And our impulse was kind of like this little nodule of 33 here. Still some sellers trying to sell the 30. There they go. Shit. PMI is higher. Slow. It's weird as we're not really seeing the dollar bounce. Oh, we are. Yeah, the dollar did bounce pretty decent.
Second. Oh, no. First, that's just still the first spot.
Dollar's catching a bid right now. That's what that means. High services is good for the dollar. So the market is trading pretty correlated here. Ooh, getting smoked. Checking back into this lower balance again. What was our point of control? 10. Well, not the point of control, I guess. 15 was the point of control, but 10 was a bigger level here. $44.20 for that lower distribution. Yeah, it's like 4. Yeah, it's like 18, 19 or something. And it's kind of the high of that distribution. You could see on the DOM like we're getting to this red. That's that distribution. Yeah, the advanced declines fucking just getting murdered. Negative 24.
Negative tick is negative 900. It's not necessarily pushing lower.
Yeah, but it's
Or is
pinned
it?
at the low basically. 1,000 is pretty much pretty fucking low. This thing's just pinned here. The Bitcoin trade looks like it's gonna hit 1,000-point drop from where it's at. We're stuck shorts here on the 25. So they've done this, 5 points in a row. Where have we seen this before? Right? We've seen this play before. I think we saw it on the way up. where they were just like, big sellers on every 5 points.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that one spilled a little bit, like they had to market the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like all 5,000 didn't fill on the same tick.
Dollars on a tear to the upside. Mm.
Whoa. That was a pretty big jump. Like 4 points that it jumped.
Yeah, jeez. Wow, yeah, that's crazy. I was starting to wonder if they were running out of supply to fill their big lots. We also ran into that top of that distribution, I think.
I was looking at the DOM and it was like, I don't know, 24 quarter, 24 half, and then all of a sudden 27 half. Like, wow. Somebody was AMD is bouncing. NVIDIA is bouncing. NASDAQ has a small bounce, but nothing major. Both AMD and NVIDIA are pushing up against VWAP. Did it jump? It was basically riding the 28 and then it just like popped up.
Yeah, I got some shorts covering. They're chasing price up
Here we go.
back to that 80s range. Just tagged the first standard deviation up there, like 31.25.
Do we have any more news coming? In 42 minutes, crude oil inventories.
Oh, I've been muted this whole time?
Yeah.
Terrible. Jesus Christ. Well, I wasn't saying anything interesting, really. Just, I was saying, if buyers are going to get the shorts to actually start the cover, they've got to get it above this 30. And then, I mean, you see the VWAP at 4444. So, if they get it above the 30 and shorts really start to cover, that could take us back into this upper distribution. And above 35, it starts to get kind of, shorts really going to start to cover. And I think where the real sellers are at is up here around that open,
44,
around like
42.
44, 45 in this lower distribution of the Globex. Like 45, 44. $46 maybe. A bounce from 44.20. 618 fib level too. Yeah, I could see us going back up to test that 4444 if we bounce.
I'm checking to see if that buyer's still here.
Seems like if we get accepted below this like 4420 area, then might as well go touch the 4400.
Yeah. At least that 4410.
On the 28th, June 28th. Yeah, we had like a poor low that held at singles. We're coming into like that, all that volume basically.
Right at the 4000.
20, yeah. So the 28th and the 29th, that's the volume that we're kind of coming into, I guess. So if we get accepted into that, it makes sense to try to test the other side.
Yeah, and then really 4300 on the weekly level is that's that balance low area. $43.40 to like 40. Now buyers need to run it up because what's happening here is you're getting people that are like, oh, it's not going down anymore, I'm gonna buy it, and they're buying it, but they're not really getting a ton of upticks. And if they like I said, like if they can't get upticks, then they're gonna be forced to liquidate again. At least pieces of their trades. They're not necessarily liquidating their entire trades, but they're not stupid, right? They're not going to get in 5,000 lots at one level and be like, it's going to go 10 points lower. Why don't I just sell half of these at 34 for a 1 point loss and then buy them again lower at a different price? Maybe not all of them, but percentage base, that's probably what they do. You do if you're smart. Nasdaq is actually trying to catch a little bit of a bid here. Looks like buyers are stuck right here. Can't get anything going. Sellers had buyers stuck and didn't take advantage there. Buyers will try to run it up to 30. If they can't get it to 30, then it's still an offer. But if they get it above 30, expect some short covering to come. I've got my stop at 27.50. So even if it pops that, if it doesn't get above 30, I'll try to reshort it. But if it gets above 30, I don't really want to play this fucking chicken game that's going on. Hey, good morning, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Nasdaq trying to catch a bid here. But not the ES. Oof. Dow's coming lower as well. Look at our sector boxes here. Yeah, new bar in 2 minutes. Nvidia trying to catch a bid. Also Microsoft. Apple doing nothing. Netflix gets spacked. VIX is up 10%. 16.49.
Three seconds. We're gonna have some single prints here.
Nasdaq broke that resistance.
Yeah,
And the
Nasdaq's
50
catching a
EMA.
bid.
I'll be back. I have a meeting.
How does the Nasdaq do with that 50 EMA? Does it work nice for it?
Yeah, it's been staying under it. That was the first time it broke over it.
Be careful then. Might catch a pop. Nasdaq's a beast. Like Microsoft's making a high now. I'm not a fan of fighting the Nasdaq. So gold. Let me take a peek. Yeah, gold looks like shit still. I think gold's going down to 1850. Be 1865. Where I see it kind of going. What's the gap at? Because I know there was a gap here. That's what we were talking about the time before, right? Gap starts at 1892 to like 1874. And that 69 is just right below that gap. So that's kind of where I think we're. Yeah, of course. So they caught a little bit of stops, but they couldn't get up above that 30 here. So now let's see if the sellers actually take control. So if you've got a bunch of people long here, right, from this 25, 26 area, start to get below this 24 area, 24 area, those longs probably cover, right? Or they probably start to cover down towards like maybe 19, 20 area. But if sellers can't take advantage here and cause a liquidation, it becomes a little bit harder to force the market in your direction because typically, like we've always talked about, right, there's typically more buyers in the market than sellers. People have an easier time buying something than they do selling it. Because if they buy it, they can pretty much hold on to it forever. Sure. You know how to do it? The way that I do it? Anyone else's kids come to them and their kids ask them if they can vacuum the living room? I'm just saying. People tell me I got really good kids. Because they know the value of hard work. The Vol's getting smoked right now. A lot of downside volume coming in, apparently.
Be careful for a liquidation and pop back over.
Yeah.
The Nasdaq down right here where it broke it. Yes.
I'll be right back. All right, back. What we got here? More continuation. What? Just set it by the door. Is it leaking or no? All right, just set it by the door. Yeah, it has been a little while since we had a solid trend day down. That's true. You said getting short 26, 28 feels like FOMO. Oh, I got
I've
stopped
been
out on.
short since.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I've been short since 27.
Yeah, I actually closed my short at 27 quarter and then got back in at 26.50. I think there's opportunity there for sure. I just don't want. I mean, it's really as long as it's below 30. Once it gets above 30, then I kind of become a little bit more cautious. I'd like to sell it closer to that 35, 34 area. But if it gets above this 37, 38, then I really don't want to sell it at all until like maybe up here like 4.4, 4.4, 4.446, closer to the high. You know what I mean? Like that's how I'm playing it. You just play like off of these like key levels that it's providing. And then like if you let's say you got short right here, 24.50. Well, you don't really want to see it above 25. So you're risking very little and looking, to trade lower, but also this is not really the best spot to get into a trade, right? But if it does pop and it can't get above the 30, or let's say it just maybe goes like maybe gives you like a little peak above the 30 but then gets back below, well then you can short below with a tight stop, kind of expecting it to trade back down to this volume node. It's like a combination of timing and luck, honestly. But you know what they say, precision beats power, timing beats speed. By they, I mean Conor McGregor. Look at the tick. Not one tick above the zero line today.
Yeah, careful for a pop here.
I think the blue means that it moved fast. It was like like a spike move, or like like it moved fast and directionally. Nasdaq and the ES are in a fight. Yeah, it's like our top two sectors. Like tech's trying to go green here, and healthcare is getting beat down, which is the Dow, right? Financials is with the Dow as well. Tough to see who's really leading, because the ES looks weak and the Dow looks weak. It's tough to fight against the Nasdaq, that's for sure. And the Nasdaq's such a big piece, right? 28% of the S&P is made up of infotech. And that's Microsoft and Apple, basically. Nvidia's in there too, actually. You like the 9 EMA on the 5 minute on a trend day?
I use the 8 on a trend day.
I'm stuck shorts on that low there.
Apple broke below its VWAP. We'll see if it holds.
And this market like moves for a second and then just like does nothing, then moves and then does nothing. Summertime. Summertime. Living.
Chop, chop.
Yeah, I might go mow the grass real quick before it gets too fucking hot.
I just got half mine done.